That's how the theme song goes. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Constitutionals podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. Almost forgot the name of this podcast, so I'm sorry. That's why I had the little pause there. Anyway, if you don't know, this is a premier podcast for cpluscomedy.com. If you haven't been there, you should go there. It's a good website. It's an all right website that I helped design with the help from squarespace.com, which it has no offer codes. They're not advertising here. I guess you should use Squarespace if you want to. They are. I do use them. They easy designs, nice cool templates. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't know anything. I'd be really bad if this podcast, for some ungodly reason, somehow got enough subscribers and then also got enough that Squarespace noticed and they wanted an ad drop. Oh boy, or an ad read, as it's called in the business. Ad drop, ad read. It's no big deal. I listen to a lot of podcasts. It would be just terrible. But that's how I would do it. I would start out. I would just lead up to it. You guys wouldn't even know it's a freaking ad until I just said something about Squarespace, and then they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I thought he was doing the podcast." Nope, he's doing. Well, he is, but he's also doing a Squarespace ad. And it was funny, and people loved it, and I loved it, and you thought it was funny, and I thought it was funny at the end. Go on for 2, 3, 4 minutes tops. 4 minutes is too long for an ad. 2 minutes tops. And then I go right back to the episode, and nobody would even notice except for the sound noises, as they're typically called. The transitions, it'll be like, and then it'll go right back to the episode. Like, welcome back, Constitutionals. Yeah. Anyway, so this is a podcast called The Constitutionals, and it's on a website called C Plus Comedy that is, in fact, made on squarespace.com. Go there, offer code C Plus Comedy, and you can get 15% off your first year. And that was an ad read. You're welcome. Don't do that. Don't use comedy. Don't put anything. Oh, I mean, do it and see what happens. It might happen. You might get 15% off something. I don't know. Let's move on to a topic. Let's move on to something that people generally are not talking about, and that's not the what is it? Impetus. That's not the reason why this podcast is made. It's just the reason. It's an audio diary for me to just talk because I'm crazy and I like to talk to myself. But let's do things. Let's talk about something that no one else is talking about. I'm gonna say this once. I'm not gonna say it again. I need PlayStation to allow Hulu to update its app on its interface. That's it. That's all I need. Because several months ago, Hulu introduced its Live with TV option, which is basically it's a cable package. $40 a month, you get all these cable networks and stuff like that. True TV, FX, FXX, other non-FX networks, and you get to watch those things in real time. You get 50 hours of DVR. You can upgrade to $15 a month for 200 hours of DVR. You can have multiple profiles. You also get the regular Hulu service. But anyway, I pay for the regular Hulu service. I've been paying for that since it started. I've been paying for that and Netflix since they started. I'm one of the people that has had those things since day one. You're welcome, Netflix. You're welcome, Hulu. I have been fostering you until you became too big. And now you guys are gigantic. One of you is gigantic. One of you is just very big. Guess which one's which? One of them has 20 billion in invested shows. The other one has difficult people. It's a great show, though. I love it. Anyway, so PlayStation also has the same thing. They have their own cable package called PlayStation Vue. Now, who do you think Sony wants you to use on their platform? PlayStation Vue, of course. So they don't have DirecTV Now. They don't have Sling TV. They don't have any other TV apps besides, the regular Netflix, the stuff you have through your cable. So your HBO, I think they have a Showtime app. They have Crackle for some reason, but they don't have cable apps like Hulu. They don't have cable apps like DirecTV Now. They don't have cable apps like Sling TV. And that's kind of a petty thing. I mean, you have the highest selling console right now, as of this recording. PS4 is still beating Xbox One, Nintendo Switch as the highest selling console. Again, I think it's overrated. Again, I do have all three consoles. One of them I really do enjoy a lot. The other two are there. Switch, I enjoy Switch. But what I'm saying is, if you allow the people who have Hulu, so say somebody doesn't want to use PS View, say somebody has more Android TVs in their house than they have PlayStation 4s. The typical person will have one PS4 versus someone who has an Android TV or a Chromecast, which is $35, or an Apple TV. They don't want to pay for several PS4s to be able to watch cable in other parts of the house. Now, I don't think PlayStation View, I know they have an Android app, but I don't think they have a Android Chromecast app. I don't think they have they might have an Android TV app. I guarantee they probably do have an Android TV app, but they want to have Hulu. What if you want to do Hulu? What if you want to be able to watch Blackish, all episodes of Blackish, only streaming on Hulu? They're paying for I think there's a $50 or I think $40 is the highest one. But there's one, I think it's like $45. It's a $45 one package. So it's like $5 more than a regular base package. You get everything I mentioned before, plus you get commercial free. So what if somebody wants to pay for that, but they don't want to spend time watching the stuff on their PlayStation 4? Like, just allow it. Just update it. Allow them to update it. It'll be great. It'll be fine. You'll still have your money. People are still going to use PlayStation View as long as you make it a service that people are attracted to. Like, Apple's not going to say, hey, only iTunes can only be downloaded on Macs because there are people with Windows computers that love iTunes. I wouldn't say love. Love is a very strong word. That tolerate iTunes, and they have iPhones. They have Apple TVs. They have iPads, but they only want to use PCs because PCs are a little bit more customizable. That's maybe they're a gamer and they have an iPhone. You don't know that. I keep slapping my knee. It's very loud. So PlayStation, you don't want to pigeonhole somebody into using your service. That's not cool. That's not nice. Like, you allow PlayStation Now, which is a online streaming service that is not good. They purchased this company called Gaikai in 2012, I believe, or 13, and they now stream some PS2 and mostly PS3 games over the internet, but it's not good. So why? I mean, if you allow that on PC, if you allow that on, I think it was on Vita for a very long time, then I stopped it. But if you allow it on PC, then how come you can't and you can allow me to watch PS View on PC, my phone, on iPads, on other things, but you can't, except for Xbox, but you won't allow this. It's so stupid. I think it's dumb. I don't even have PlayStation View. I do, but I do have PS4 and I do have Hulu, and I don't appreciate it. That's why I spend most of my time watching everything on the Xbox One, because it's just easier. I can just turn it right on and everything's right there. Cable's plugged in. I got the Netflix. Everything's pinned right there. I don't have to slip through any lists, any folders like that. I don't know. Just saying, PlayStation, you really need to get your crap together. All right. Also, guys, listen, I have got to mention this. Last week, long story short, this, I got a 10-cent rental from Vudu, which is Walmart's online streaming thing. 10-cent rental, and I used it to rent Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which I knew I was not going to watch in theaters. Thank God I did not. I did not like that movie. Did not like it at all. And I do think it was based on a bias. I do think I sat down and angrily watched it, because this is when I watch it. Oh, this is on Friday night. I watched it on Friday night. And I immediately, when I turned it on, I got in the bed. I thought, I'm going to fall asleep during this movie. I'm just not going to enjoy myself. That movie, I watched it the entire time, and I hated it. And I'm gonna go ahead and use that word. I hated it. There's so much of it that just made me so mad. And I love James Gunn. James Gunn is great. And I feel as if people are just riding his coattails because he did the last movie, and no one knew who James Gunn was unless you were somebody like me and everybody else who listens to the podcast who's watched his stuff. He did Dawn of the Dead. He did the original Scooby-Doo movie, the 2002 live action one, which I loved, which the movie distribution, who did Scooby-Doo? Oh my God, I was sounding so smart for a second. Which anyway, the production company, distribute. Yeah, okay, whatever. Warner Brothers, they dumbed it down from being this kind of the Brady Bunch movie when that was like a parody of the Brady Bunch. That was what Scooby-Doo was going to be. And then apparently they dumbed it down. It was going to be an R-rated. It's going to have weed smoking and all this stuff in it. And they dumbed it down to this PG movie, which I think is still pretty fine. The twist of the movie is Scrappy-Doo is the villain, and he wants to turn all these people. He wants to take their souls, and it's great. I think it's great. He also did Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed, which I think is less than optimal. Seth Green was in that one. I remember that one very vividly because I watched that one more than I watched the first one, even though I like the first one more than I like the second one. He did Dawn of the Dead 2004. Loved it. Fantastic. God. He did Super, which is a great superhero movie starring Rainn Wilson and Ellen Page. Is that her name? Let's see. Ellen Page. That's right. Liv Tyler's in it too. He also, and that's pretty much it. Up until Guardian, he was in this. I don't want to say underground because he definitely was not an underground guy, but he was this little known alternative director, and then he happened to get Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a fine movie. I like that movie. It's I will even go as far as say it's good, but then you do movies like, and now when you're in this universe. And not knocking anybody who's also in this universe, but you do these Marvel things, and they're just these shallow renditions of comic book characters that can only do so much in a 2-hour time frame. Speaking of which, that movie was 2 hours and 16 minutes long, which is 2 hours and 16 minutes too long. And then you get this middling product, which what felt to me literally like a middle movie. When the new Star Trek came out. The new Star Trek, and I'm going to compare it. I'm going to compare them because I love the new Star Trek movie. I love the new series. It's fantastic. It makes the old things look less boring. I gotta say, because I mean the movies are great. The original show, kind of boring at this point. So when you have this 2009 reboot. And you have these new people playing these characters, and they're going to be in this space epic, and you got to find a story to tell. You got to find who's going to be a bad guy, who's going to be a good guy. Boom, you got it immediately. And then when you go to the second movie, which was Into the Darkness, there's only so much you can do because all you have to do is expand this world. So you don't have to set up any more character stuff. But what I felt like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was doing, it kept saying, hey, remember in the first movie, Rocket's a very mean raccoon. Groot is saying I am Groot, but Rocket's saying he's saying dirty words. Chris Pratt, Star-Lord, I was going to say Starquill. Star-Lord is kind of a turd, but he also means really well. And this will they won't they thing with Zoe Saldana and Chris what's his name? Chris Pratt. It's and then that took out too much of the bulk of the movie. They already said in the first movie that this is going to be a thing. See, and then Drax. Then it just upped Drax's stupid quotient. Jesus, oh my God, it was, and it felt the way people say the second Hobbit movie felt like a middle movie. This is how this movie felt times 10. It was slow. I do enjoy the way it started out, which I remember very vividly. They're in space. Of course, it's a movie about space. I'm gonna kill myself. They're in space, and they're trying to defend these batteries from a space monster. And the entire opening sequence is Groot dancing, baby Groot dancing, which, God, you don't need baby stuff. Just have him grow. It's been some time. The new thing is, it takes place in 2014, which I thought was genius. I thought that was so smart because it takes place almost immediately after the last movie, which I thought, not almost immediately. It's probably some time. It's probably a few months or a year or so, but they've been a team for some time. Some Baby Groot's dancing, and then everybody else is fighting in the background, and they're all trying to protect Baby Groot because he's oblivious to the monster in the background dancing. And eventually, the people that they're fighting for Rocket steals some batteries from them, and then they turn into the bad guys or the good guys, whoever you're on side. And then there's also a side and then everything. So once the Guardians crash on this planet, they end up splitting up, which is what I hate in team movies. If you're doing a team movie, have them as a team for as long as possible. There's two things I hate in team movies. I hate when they split up, and that happens immediately. And then I also hate when they all get mad at each other and then they split up. Like it's super bad when Jonah Hill and Michael Cera were like, I'm mad at you, we're not friends anymore, and they split up. I think that always slows down a movie so much. Just have them, just tell a story. Tell a better story. So then, so now everybody goes off. It's Star-Lord, Gamora, and Drax. They leave. They go hang out with the Living Planet, which is what's his name? Jeff Bridges. They go hang out with Peter Quill's dad, and he just pops up and goes, "Hey man, it's me, your dad." It's so stupid. I hate that so much. And then Rocket and Baby Groot are protecting Nebula, or watching Nebula as they repair their ship, as all these Ravengers start attacking them, and then they get captured. And then the worst part of the movie is Rocket and Yondu. The words coming out of Yondu's mouth, "I see you and me," or "I see me and you." Oh my God, that's so stupid. Anyway, it's a movie that I just couldn't get behind. I had a lot of issues with it. Steve Agee was in it. He was fantastic. I think he did a really good job. And Howard the Duck popped back up, which I laughed so hard at. I said, that's from I did get suckered into that. I said, that's from the first movie. That's Howard the Duck. He's a terrible comic book character. You seen Howard the Duck, the movie? Go watch it. Go listen to How Did This Get Made version of the podcast when they make fun of it. It's fantastic. Wonderful. Anyway. And then, apparently Miley Cyrus was in the movie as well as a CGI character. That's interesting. Oh man. Anyway, and then Sylvester Stallone was in there for 5 seconds, and he was also in a post-credit scene, which I did not approve of. If you're gonna have somebody as big as that guy, get him in there for a long time. And David Hasselhoff popped up, and then also I want to mention this because what I have an issue is with this movie is that this episode is really long. The music. What it did in the first movie was it played a large part in telling the story and setting the tone, which was cute the first time. And I will admit, I did Google Play. I bought the soundtrack on sale for like $1 during Black Friday one time. I think the year the movie came out. And honestly, I've listened to all those songs before because I'm a live human being, and those are very popular songs. Second time around, it's not cute. Oh, you released another soundtrack? Great. I mean, these are songs that have been around, like Mr. Blue Sky. I don't want to hear that song in a movie again. It's been in 97 movies. So what I wrote down in my notes is I do write notes for the Constitutionals podcast. So you're welcome, world. I'm very so stupid. Very organized. Music and nostalgia is purely masturbatory, and what I mean by that is I didn't like, let's go back to an example. I didn't like Ready Player One because that is a book that's basically saying, hey, do you remember this thrasher metal band? Do you remember this movie was starring Heather Locklear? Do you remember Dungeons and Dragons? It's the same thing that Stranger Things did. Same thing that any living millennial right now does. They always just go on this nostalgia trip, which is honestly constantly, it's annoying, and I don't like it, and I disapprove of it. And when you have a movie just based around these old quote unquote alternative songs, they're, I guess, punk songs, and now they're some of the biggest songs in the world, it just doesn't make sense to me to just rely on that. You just have that and then have Drax tell all of these. Some of them were funny, but they upped the Drax stupid quotient, as I said, and now he's saying all of these funny, and they're blatantly, not I won't say disrespectful, but just arrogant things. He calls Palm's character Mantis. He calls Mantis ugly. He says, "You're ugly," and it got really annoying. He's like, "You're the ugliest thing in the world," like some stuff like that. I don't know. It's just. Oh, and sorry. So then you have this. Then you have Rocket just being a jerk which I don't. He's just upping the jerk portion of that. It's just, I don't know. You're at some point you gotta be able to tell a story, and I really love a story, and that just felt like the telling a TV show episode that was stretched out too long. And some people say that about the Simpsons movie. Some people say that about South Park's bigger, longer, and uncut movie. And a lot of people said it about Star Trek Beyond that came out last year. And honestly, Star Trek Beyond, I believe Star Trek, of course, I believe, because I'm the one saying it. Star Trek Beyond did it well. Yes, it felt like an episode of a show, in that it was a pace that moved it was very fast, but it told its own story. It didn't expect you, it didn't ask you to remember Into the Darkness and the 2009 reboot. It didn't ask you to know things from the show. It didn't ask you to know things from Next Generation. It just said, this is a movie, and this is a story we're telling, and that's it. And it did it. It did it in 2 hours and 2 minutes, and that's with credits. It did it in less than 2 hours. And yeah, it was fine. I liked it a lot, and I like Beyond. I like Star Trek Beyond. It was a fantastic movie. I like South Park's movie. I like Simpsons movie. But when you get into the Guardians of the Galaxy, when you get into Ready Player One, and those things are just nostalgia trips for you to just suckle on the teat of your childhood, it gets annoying. So there you go. And then it also started next topic. There's no segue here. I also started watching You're the Worst, and it's a FX series turned FXX series. So if you have FXX, you can watch it, which pretty much everyone does. So You're the Worst is a show about a British author and this redheaded woman, and they get together in the first episode, and then eventually they just start having a relationship. It's clunky, it's difficult, and it sucks, but they start having a relationship. And one of my favorite things about that show is that it really gets into the minutia. It puts them together quickly. So it really gets into the minutia of what this relationship is going to be. In 4 episodes, Aya Cash and Chris Gear, I don't know their names. I don't know the character names. They get together, and in 4 episodes, in the first episode, they sleep with each other. In 4 episodes, they are continuing to sleep with each other, but then the words boyfriend and girlfriend come up, and then they say, we don't want to say that. Next episode, they say it. They say, ugh, like they cringe at it. I hate that word. They're taken aback by the words and everything. And then in season 2, Jimmy gets blackout drunk, and then he apparently says, I love you. Jimmy, that's just his name. Jimmy and Gretchen. And he says I love you to, what's her face? Gretchen. I just said her name. And then she says, I love you too. And it's amazing. It's fantastic. It's the way in which this is developing is really insane. And I know I interviewed I interviewed the composer for the show. His name is Adam Blau. Does a great job. He does all the music for the show. So if you ever hear a song on there, there's 99% sure that he did it with the help of the creator, Stephen Falk, in some cases, with their songs with lyrics. So yeah, You're the Worst is great. It's also a show that talks a lot about depression, and it's not afraid to damage its characters for several episodes at a time. Aya Cash's character Gretchen, she has depression, and in season 2, for at least 4 or 5 episodes straight, her depression kicks in. Like, it immediately kicks in, and then she stays as this one-note, one-dimensional, sad, terrible person. Most of her scenes in that show for those 5 episodes are her just laying down, and then the other 10 to 20% of the scenes are her yelling at somebody or mostly Jimmy. And then the moment she breaks out of that depression is so beautiful. It's shot so well. The writing needs to be applauded. The direction needs to be applauded. Mostly anything that Stephen Falk does. It's insane. And that Adam Blau does, and that the directors and the writers and the producers, everybody else, everybody on that show deserves an award, because when Aya Cash turns her head and sees that Jimmy didn't break up with her or leave to go with this other woman, it's crazy. It's emotional, and this is a cable comedy that's never sad. And you see something like one of FX's other shows that are sometimes overly dramatic. Not cartoon, the comedy shows, the other single cameras that are sometimes overly dramatic, and you see them, and you think, okay, all right, Louis, you're not a poet. You don't need to write an episode about a rubber duck. I haven't seen that show in a long time, so I remember there's an episode about a rubber duck. And when they do something like that, or the episode I just watched, 22, it's in season 3, and it's something else they've been building up to. Edgar, one of the characters, has PTSD. He's an Iraqi vet, and then building up, beginning of season, late season 2, beginning of season 3, he gets off his meds. He starts having traumatic flashbacks, and he's basically going crazy. Episode dedicated to him, and he finds out that basically the only thing that can help him is one substance, and so he uses that later on in the season to become not his crutch, but the thing that helps him get by every day. So yeah, here we go. So if you like You're the Worst, just oh my god, this is still better than last week's episode. And the week before that, if you like comedy shows, if you like stuff that gets kind of heavy sometimes, but it doesn't lean too much into the dramatic, because it's a single camera show and it's only 22 minutes long. This is not Netflix. You don't need to wave your over dramatized wand anywhere. But yeah, so definitely watch it. It's a great show. I love it a lot. I really do love it. I'm not gonna lie. I saw the pilot. I saw half of the pilot, and I was watching on Hulu, and I said, "This is not for me," because these people they're the worst people. It's Always Sunny, except they're not funny when they're mean. They're just bitingly mean. There's an episode like when before Gretchen goes on to her depression bender, she breaks down every character in that show, and it is insane. It's mean, and I kind of hated her character for it, but that's how it goes. But yeah, I didn't like it at first, and then I interviewed Adam Blau, and I didn't have to, but I watched a couple episodes. I read up on the show, and I thought, oh man, this show is actually pretty cool. And so yeah, anyway, yeah, check it out. Anyway, this has been a very long episode of the Constitutionals. It's about 7 minutes over than what I usually do, but it's the first time I've been feeling good about recording and not tired. So here we go. Anyway, so if you like this show, I don't know why you would, but for some ungodly reason you say, hey, this is a fine show. I'm still going to subscribe, and there's 20 of you. I don't know who you are, but congratulations, you're wasting your time. I think I'm one of them. Actually, I know I'm one of them. Because I subscribe on Pocket Cast. Oh, drive my car right off the side of a cliff. Anyway, if you like this, and you say, hey, I want more of this guy. This guy's he's a funny guy. He's interesting. I want to hear his voice. He's got the sultry tones of young black Frank Sinatra. Sounds like Sammy, but he looks like a black Dean Martin. I'm going to keep naming Rat Pack members. Joey Bishop. So, if you like, interesting about the Rat Pack, not Jimmy Carter, what's his name? John F. Kennedy was tangentially related to Rat Pack. Rat Pack is those other guys. Anyway, JFK is tangentially related to the Rat Pack. God bless America. And by someone, he was someone's brother-in-law. And Frank used to call this someone I don't know. Anyway, I'm trying to. So God, what am I saying? What am I saying? Go look it up. It's on Wikipedia. Frank, you know what I'm gonna do right now? This is gonna piss me off. Rat Pack. Oh my God, I'm so mad. I don't know why I started saying these things. Frank. I'm gonna look for John F. Kennedy. This is so dumb. Why did I start saying these? Okay. Peter Lawford. Peter Lawford was the brother-in-law of John F. Kennedy, and then Frank Sinatra would call Peter Lawford the brother in Lawford, and then eventually Peter Lawford and Frank had a falling out, and then Frank never wanted to talk to, I guess, Lawford, and then Kennedy as well. So anyway, and then Kennedy was also, and the Rat Pack members they also would help out in the Democratic National Convention, whatever. And okay. Anyway, all right. I'm gonna end this episode. right, if you like this and all other stuff, you can also head to the website cpluscomedy.com, where we've got a whole bunch of stuff. Ooh, what did I say? What do I usually say around this? Oh, you go to a website where you got so many news, reviews, features, interviews, and other good comedy bits. Something I can provide you with. Listen, if you like that, if you like this, do it. You can also head to follow us on Twitter at @C+Comedy, C+Comedy at C+Comedy. Follow me on Twitter at Chad Black White. Like us on Facebook. Continue listening to this podcast. Head to youtube.com/C+Comedy. Watch our other shows. There's a show called On Comedy. It's a documentary series. Haven't done an episode in months. Probably won't ever do one again. We'll see what happens. But it's pretty good. I like it. I like it a lot. I spend a lot of time on it. That's why I don't do them all month. You also watch our weekly news show called News Time, in which I break down a single topic and discuss it. And sometimes the topic's really cool. Sometimes it's not. This week I did an episode about music composition, so it's fitting that I talked about You're the Worst. And also, You're the Worst is coming back season 4 this Wednesday, which is tomorrow. If you're listening to this today, this comes out. I don't want to date myself. Anyway, but I just did. And we'll see what else. Oh, so that's it. That's all I got. Okay, thanks for listening. Bye.